I think so often it's easy to write off somebody as a failure, as whatever you want to title them as whatever you want to label them as. And in that, you miss the power of what they have to offer.
Yeah.
So all that to bring it back, the conversation that we have today could mean the difference of life and death for someone. That's a conversation. That's a thing I learned, working with addicts, working with youth. Like, they may go home tonight and they may end up dead. I know one guy who got so strung out, he went up and tried to find money in a neighboring town and literally killed an elderly couple with an axe. I mean, just crazy stuff. What is the conversation that could have happened to change his life? What is the conversation that could happen with an employee? What is the conversation with a client? And when I sit down with a client, bringing this back into the entrepreneurial space, a lot of times my job isn't to build them a website. My job is to help guide them to what's best for them, to help them understand and see the unknown potential. There's a lot of times I was just sitting down with somebody recently and we're talking about their idea. And I said, I think you're thinking too smallly on this. And you're not seeing how this can be a cohesive product. I'm like, we're talking about, if you do this right, $1 billion business, versus a couple $1 million, just a slight shift, just a slight change. And so being an advocate for our clients, I say this, and, I say two things to clients when we first sit down to talk. And it sounds like kind of a jerk thing to say, but it's the best thing that they can hear. One, I don't care what they want. I really don't. I don't care what my customers want. What I care about is what their customers want. Because if we can get their customers what they want, they're going to convert those customers. And that's going to in turn create sales. That's going to create revenue. That's going to create product. That's going to help change lives. And so if I'm focused so much on the client, they're not the hero of the story. Their client is the hero of the story. So how do we make them the hero? Because that will in turn get the client to where they want. And the second thing is that you're not right. My job isn't to tell you that the client is always right. And we hear that in business all the time. The client is always right. The client's always right. No, the client gets what they want, but that doesn't mean that they're right. It means that if they have an advocate in their business partners, whether it's a web developer and designer like me, whether it's a business coach, whether it's an accountant, their job is to come in and say, as an advocate for your business, I've got to let you know that you have a blind spot here. I've got to call you out on this and help you get on the right path to get you to the potential of what you have. And so I think that translates right from that story of ministry into entrepreneurship, that lesson carries over. A victim is a victim until they realize that they can be a victor. And so often we allow people to live in their place of victim, and we feed that. I mean, look at the California issue with homelessness. They're empowering people to be homeless. Why? Because they're well-intended, they're well-hearted, they want to help these people, but doing it the way that they're doing is only empowering addiction, homelessness, and a continued cycle. So you've got to change that. And sometimes the hardest thing is to say, dude, I love you, but you're doing the wrong thing, and we've got to make a shift.